A very good afternoon and a big welcome to Young and Smart. This is a radio program that runs on UBC Radio Inspiring Uganda every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. Now, if you are in Kampala, you'll get this frequency at 98.0, and if you are in Lira, it is a 99.4 FM, and in Arua, it's 97.4 FM. My name is Laureen, and today in studio we do have exciting guests. Of course, one who is a common person, and he is back today as well. And the other two, we have two new guests in studio. Please introduce yourselves.
All right, thank you, moderator. As usual, I'm Fundani Ivan from Chambogo University, and we're here to deliberate on issues of national importance as the discussion continues. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lauren. My name is Notish Kaimidi. I'm a student of Chambogo University, and I'm very much humbled to be here.
Thank you very much, Lauren. I'm called Ruchumu Gift Banyanga. I'm a student at Chambogo University, and I'm very honored to be with you here in the studios of UBC Radio. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm also excited and also pumped up. And today we are discussing a very crucial topic. I should say that this particular topic is the commonest situation right now in our country. And it is unemployment. Now, unemployment in the COVID-19 pandemic has been the commonest thing or the commonest issue pertaining young people in Uganda. Now, COVID-19 has been with us for, I would say, a year now, right? Coming to a year, or it is a year. We'll just call it a year. And of course, with COVID-19 came the lockdown. Now, with the lockdown, so many things closed, from schools to businesses to offices. And so, it's like life came to a standstill. And with this closure, a lockdown of over 4 months, so many people lost their jobs, closed their businesses, ran bankrupt, lost a lot of money. There was no activity, there was no exchange of money. And after the lockdown, I mean, we all know the story. There were a few people were called back to work. The rest were left were not called back to work. Many people's businesses collapsed. And basically, many people in Uganda, more so the youth in Uganda, were left without jobs. I want to ask a question. Do you know anyone, or have you heard of anyone, who is unemployed currently?
Thank you very much. That is an obvious question on unemployment. Even before COVID was there rampant. So when COVID came, even in our families, because I believe every family now living around this nuclear stuff, in extent, you have a cousin, you have a relative, there are very many people out there. Personally, I have sisters, brothers, biological, who are there unemployed. And of course, you know the consequences that come along with unemployment. Many people having been unemployed, of course, you will now, even before COVID, you have seen them more so the female sex. They have been going on streets, selling their bodies, but now if they were selling for 5k, now it is 2k. So that's when you know that the level of disparity has increased. There is nothing painful like when you don't have what to feed your stomach. You see, God set up something tricky that whether you are poor or rich, you must eat. So returning back to your question, people are there very many. Friends and my sisters, my relatives, they are there unemployed. Reason being, COVID may be the issue, but still as the government has not done enough. Much as we appreciate it for the efforts it has put in place to make sure that we recover from COVID, but still I feel we still need something more to be done. Otherwise, if we find that because Uganda it being the youngest country, is an average age of 15, we are the greater percentage the youth. So if we find majority of the country's citizens are the ones with a lot of disparity, don't expect that country to have the economy stable. So it must do something by all standards if it want to compete with other nations. Otherwise, we are having challenges. We are having serious challenges.
All right.
Thank you.
Emily, what is the situation in your household? Do you know anyone who is unemployed? And if you do know someone, what do you think is going through their mind? I bet you've had an interaction with them at one point, about point A.
Oh yeah, there are very many people who are unemployed. Let's not go very far. First, with the graduates that recently did their final exams and now are there out in the world. And now, let's leave that alone and we talk about some of the sectors that have been closed since the lockdown. For example, people who are earning from bars, events, and now with the COVID situation that happened, events, some were triggered, some of the operations were triggered, whereby now where you would operate with around 500, 1,000, this time you would operate with like 300 people. That means income would slow down. So some of the sectors that are still closed, so I think we regard them as unemployed. And when you really talk to those people, you really see that it is now mental health that is really getting cracked. People are frustrated, they are looking for ways of survival, and we really need to work on that.
All right, thank you so much, Emily. Gift, the situation in your household, how does it look like? Okay, your household, your surrounding, what does it look like?
Thank you very much, Lori. The situation, I would say, is positive and negative, depending on how you look at it. When you ask me about my household, there is the immediate household, the people I stay with in my house.
Yeah.
Then my neighbors are also my household.
Your household, yes.
Then my district is also my household.
Absolutely.
My region is my household, and the country is also my household. Because if in my house there is peace, but there is war out in the rest of the country, then my household is not at peace. And the COVID-19 pandemic came with its positives and negatives. We can't be so pessimistic to just say it was all bad. At least it had good lessons for us. The situation in my household, let's look at Uganda. I wouldn't say it's very bad, and I wouldn't say it's very good. It depends on the picture that you have, that you paint in your brain. Why would I speak in such a way? The truth is, unemployment has been there before COVID-19. Unemployment has been there way before, 20 years before COVID-19, and it has always been a global crisis. But if my household, let me use my country now, Uganda, if my household, Uganda, is to thrive in all situations, it will depend on the mindset that every Ugandan has, every youth in this situation, because Uganda is one of the youngest nations in the world. 78% of the Ugandan population of about 44.5 million are youth. What does that mean? Being youth is a resource, and being a youth is a bomb, depending on how you use it. With the correct mindset, we can make the best out of this COVID-19 pandemic. It is a bad situation. Lives have been lost, businesses have been lost, great economies have been disrupted. But we must move forward and learn how to thrive in this situation.
I like your the way you're looking at this particular situation that many youth are in. I just wish that other youth as well could, have that particular mindset and say, you know what, it's not the end of the world. We can thrive in this at the end of the day. Let's look at some of the effects of unemployment that we have seen in Uganda. Because, someone might be listening in right now and might be going through a particular situation but not even realize that, because I am unemployed, this is the effect of being unemployed. Let's start with the ladies.
Yeah, thank you so much. When people are unemployed, first we see increase of crime. So now imagine people are looking for ways of survival and they cannot get anything, any coin for food. So they will resort to some methods of getting money, earning money very fast. like stealing, that's robbing, like, you know, those weird methods.
Get rich quick,
Yeah,
or get something quick.
Yeah.
I get you.
Okay, thank you very much. Unemployment in the whole concept of unemployment comes along with majority of negative effects. Moderator, you must acknowledge that when someone is unemployed, you say there is an idle mind in the workshop of the devil.
Yes.
You are going to have there many negative things in your mind. They will start running through your brain. One, like she has said, crime is going to increase. You'll find a society where you have many unemployed youth or unemployed people, drugs, marijuana, alcohol, and actually for me I always wonder where they get even that money to buy alcohol. They are unemployed, they are poor, but you see them very drunk.
Yes.
And now alcohol is not also too cheap as it used to be.
Yes.
So then another thing you'll find when crime increases, that means people with their businesses are at risk. Even the lives of the people are at risk. Girls, you people, to me sympathize with your gender, because you are always the culprits.
Why?
You are always the culprits when there is a lot of crime in the country or
Yes.
disparity. Men are going to come and they will do ugly things.
Yes.
That's why you have been seeing unexpected pregnancies in schools, some defilement, rape, fornication, prostitution, adultery. So to an extent that the country will reach at a certain point, and even you start receiving people whom you don't expect doing those ugly things to women. So really, when unemployment is there, expect anything. The person who is idle and is not having anything to do is a victim or is a candidate of doing anything you don't expect. Uganda, we have reached a level that now everything you think is evil can happen, and it is true, it can happen.
Yeah.
Reason being, now people have reached the point that they think that we can let it go and we perish. And given when unemployment increases, that's when you'll find, when we go in this politics, you'll find people flooded in politics. And if you understand the game of politics, politics is not a job.
Yeah.
You
They
are
say it's a dirty game.
It is a very dirty game. Reason being, Lauren, you are standing as an MP, so all of us we are supporting you. Even if you go through, are you going to sustain the households of the whole constituency?
No.
You cannot. So that's what happens, that people start creating grudges, unnecessary grudges, start looking at things in a different way. Their mind, the way it is always twisted, and they have that psychological desperation that we lead them to do things you don't even expect. So expect a majority of negative effects that will come along with unemployment. So I pray hard that you parents with the gender of yours, they should be sensitive, because you are the first candidates to be victimized.
Oh wow, Ivan, you always amaze me with that gender. Gift, I just want to ask you some of the effects of unemployment that you have seen amongst, your fellow youth in Uganda today.
Well, thank you very much, Laurie. Now, the effects of unemployment, I would discuss that on the three planes of existence. One, social, political, and the economic. Because at the end of the day, we are social beings, human beings are social beings, they are political beings, whether they love it or not. That's why the wave of politics in Uganda captured everyone. People power, NRM, FDC, even those who were independent-minded also came in and shouted. And at the end of the day, human beings are economic beings. Why? The effects of unemployment, one, they are going to have effects on the immediate individual, economically. They are not going to be able to buy what they need in life. And that is very dangerous.
Yes.
When someone needs bread and he can't have it, he will look for. Now, the logical part of that human being is going to be turned off. The animalistic part of that person is going to be turned on. Because at the end of the day, though we have got PhDs and got computers, we remain animals.
Yes.
So, the animal is going to be aroused, and that animal will get bred by force through theft, through robbery, through breaking into shops. And at the other point I want to talk about is the social part. When someone fails to get a job, when someone fails to get a source of income, socially they are going to become problems. Desperation is going to set into this person's brain. If it is a large group, it is going to become a very big mass of disorderly people. They are going to terrorize the entire society. Like my friend Ivan has just said, the immediate, when they are men, they are going to target women. That is natural. It's a natural law of attraction.
Yeah.
And this time they are not going to target women to take them for bride price and kuhinjira and those socially accepted functions, but they are going to take them for immoral acts, and it is the female gender that is going to suffer.
Indeed.
But the male gender will also suffer from the effects of the unemployment of their fellow male gender. How? They are going to start killing them. Because for men, they will not take them for those immoral acts. They will instead kill them to take money from them. And it is the country that is suffering. So at the end of the day, what has started as an economic problem becomes a social problem and becomes a political problem. That's when you find when there are many unemployed youths. When someone says we are going to Kampala to burn tires, you will have trucks of people coming to burn tires as if it were an employment opportunity. But they won't come because they are coming that they are fed up of the regime.
Yes.
No, it is always psychological. They have a problem, they have a question in their minds. How do I earn a living? When they fail to get an answer to it, someone comes and promises them, I'm going to bring you heaven here on earth. They will, first of all, remember when they are in this situation of being desperate due to unemployment, their brains that think logically are turned off. Now they will start feeling, how do I feel? I am desperate. It's a feeling, it's not logical. So when someone tells them, when he brings a cake and dangles it in front of them, they are going to think it is real. Even if it's a fake cake, they will go and follow him, they will go and follow that group, and then there will be havoc in the country. There will be burning of tires, raping of women, and all those things. Because of, okay, or to sum it up, unemployment of one individual can translate into an employment crisis for the country on the social, political, economic, even on the religious side, because people are going to lose faith in God.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
true.
you very much, Logan.
All right, I love your ideas and your feedback from all this. Also realized, I've also been around people who have been unemployed and for years on years, and the mere fact that COVID-19 came into the country at a point in time when some of these people who were close to me were unemployed, and then again lockdown and more people, floods and floods of people being unemployed, it has led to things like depression. I've actually lost a friend who felt that life wasn't worth living anymore because he has a family to feed, children to feed. Relatives are also calling this person saying that, you know what, we need this, your parents are dying of hunger, and it just skyrocketed into something else, and then eventually he took his own life. I've also realized another thing is that unemployment, I would say, do you think it's at the highest peak right now in the country? I so feel like in my mind, I feel like we are at the highest peak of unemployment ever, I would say, to be recorded in Uganda. What do you think? What do you think about that?
Of course, Uganda, if you have been following the statistics before COVID, we have been among the best countries with unemployment. Yes. And so now when this COVID came,
yes,
I think it has worsened everything. Actually,
it.
we are about to take on the whole world that we are the one with unemployment. And we must accept that. The problem is that we Ugandans,
yes,
we don't want to be told what we should hear. That is the problem. But if we stop pretending and we start speaking real life, we must acknowledge that our country really is in a very in a sorry state. Actually, I call upon religious leaders. They should start praying. They do novena. Those Muslims, actually now they should increase to 7 times. Because we are in a sorry state. Reason being, the unemployment, partly government is responsible. But another thing, even with the people, you see, people have failed to acknowledge that they underestimate the power of this motivation, the power of creativity, the power of the little business they would start. Yeah? But now, even when you have your 1 million, now Rorin, trust me, you have one. I give you 1 million, start a business. In 1 week you'll come crying. And now even the people in the country, now they want to feed you, and they don't want to teach you how to feed yourself. And it is very dangerous. So you find that now even the taxes, I have just recently heard that even the private, those people who are in the private sector, you are just you are employing yourself. They are going even to start taxing them. You have your land, you have grown your matoke, you want to start selling. You are going to be paying for planting matoke. Where are you planting matoke? You should pay. So if you are in a country still having such, the tax exemptions are almost on foreigners. Yes, it is good.
Yes.
When they come and build industries, we get some employment, some jobs. But is it logically right that a citizen of that particular country cannot even have a 0.1 tax exemption? That means you are discouraging a local investment.
Absolutely.
And if you are discouraging local investment, you see, the moment you start thinking that for you, we mix these things, over dependence and interdependence. You get? So the moment we start over depending on others, I start over depending that whatever I should do, I should base on you. That is the level you reach that the country cannot go anywhere. Because I believe you are going to reach a certain point if you find that Uganda, to sustain its citizens, it must bring foreigners to come and invest. But we have rich people, we have people with brains who can start up businesses and really create the jobs for the local people. But if you still have that one in your mindset, that I cannot have a citizen who is going to build, like maybe you have a TV investment and I also employ you. That one, if you have not reached that level, really you are going to find that even when you're like in your family, Rorin, you have a man that whatever you want is going to go to the neighbor. Interdependence is a situation where we need one another. You are like, for example, I see you with that dress, I just become envious that I should get it, but not jealousy. You see, we mix things, jealousy and being envious.
Yes.
I appreciate what you have and I feel I should have it, and I start working towards having it in good faith.
Yes.
But this is a situation where you find that like your husband, if he's going to give you anything neighbor, that means even when he will need children, maybe the neighbor is going to come and substitute. So the country, if the country has not reached the stage to start believing in its citizens that they can invest and create jobs for their own citizens, really we have a long way to go. I have that feeling we have a long way to go. Yes.
All right. So actually, you even answered my next question because it's gonna ask who is to blame in this particular situation. At the end of the day, yes, as you said, we are citizens, and we should I say we answer to a higher calling or something like that, or we have people who lead us, at the end of the day. And I mean, just looking at the education, of course, the education sector has been tampered with in so many ways. I mean, has been left unattended to. And now finally, as we're trying so much to, get education back on track, we look at unemployment because, first of all you students are going to finish school and you'll get into, the working, should I call it the working industry. What next for you guys? At the end of the day, when you finish school, remember there are those who already finished school maybe a year ago or 2 years ago and are still grasping and looking for, for jobs. And some of these jobs are being taken up by old fellas and ladies who just don't want to leave that office and don't believe they need to give the young people an opportunity because there's no way you go to school for experience, right?
Yeah.
So, so I tend to think that at some point, even our employment sectors, some different employment sectors are to blame in a way that, when they're asking for applicants or candidates to take up particular jobs in their companies, in their industries, and whatever the case may be, they look at I think certain things are just outrageous. You look at experience, 15 years of experience.
By the way,
how are you going to convince
when you talk about
university
that, you
student?
find that in a school, a teacher who taught in senior one
Yes.
is the same teacher who taught me in senior one.
Yes.
And is the same teacher
who is still
teaching
to teach, yes,
the senior one.
students.
So now you are telling me to have an experience from where?
From where?
I'm just from university. If you don't give me an opportunity to get that experience, that is the problem we are having. You enter an office, you find a gray-haired man
Yes.
is even using spectacles to read the bold letters of which are in maybe a font of 18. But he's also still claiming that he's patriotic. So we cannot finish unemployment when we are still operating in such
What do you
systems.
think about this gift? Because I feel like it's something itching that you really need to get off your chest.
Thank you very much, Lori. I have always, I don't know, I don't know how I can, let me say it this way. I've always had, right from my childhood, I've always had this question within me. Before I ask my country what it has done for me, let me first ask myself and give an answer, not stop at asking.
Yes.
Me as an individual, me as a citizen, what have I done for my country? You know, I believe in things of give and take. If the country has done for me this, what have I done for my country? So I like shifting the burden of the blame to myself. Because at the end of the day, there was a certain book I loved so much. Shakespeare wrote that a man is the architect of his destiny. So if the moment everything begins to crumble in your life, when you want someone to determine where you want to go, because he does not know where you want to go. It is you who knows where you want to go, when you want to go, and for what reason you want to go. So at the end of the day, it is you who is supposed to ask yourself. Unemployment crisis is in the whole world. It's not in Uganda alone, though Uganda is now among the countries that have the highest unemployment rate. But I don't believe so much in statistics. I'm not saying I'm discrediting the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, but I am not someone who loves statistics so much. Because unemployment is a state of the mind. The Uganda Bureau of Statistics only looks at how many people are employed in Mukwano, how many people are employed by government. But there are people who are unemployed in their heads.
Who are unemployed in their heads.
Yes, and that is the worst stage of unemployment. Because no one can detect it.
Yes.
That means it is like having a disease and it can't be detected in the hospital. It is going to kill you.
Yes, absolutely.
So that state of unemployment, which is mental, is going to be solved by changing the mental makeup of the people.
I want to pose a question. Let's make it general, but I'll use you as a point of conduct. So, why do you blame yourself for being unemployed?
I blame myself for being unemployed because of one reason. There is no one who understands me more than I do. There is no one who understands what I enjoy doing more than I do. So that means if I don't have a job, I have not found that passion that I'm supposed to put into practice and make into a job. I am in university and I pray to God that I graduate. But I love so much the story of the late Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates. They did not graduate from Harvard. Not that I want to drop out of university. But
you have to make that clear so that family members who are listening should know.
Not that I want to drop out of university.
Yes.
But when I read their stories, I asked myself, if someone has dropped out of college, out of university, and is able to make a company that is employing billions of people on this planet, because the moment you're on Facebook, you're working for Mark Zuckerberg. The moment you're on Google, you're working for Larry Page. The moment you're using a computer, everyone has an iPhone today. It was the brainchild of Steve Jobs, who did not graduate.
Yes.
It beats my brain when a university professor of computer science is using an application made by a boy who dropped out of campus. So that challenges me to think, me as Gift, me as Ruchumu Gift, what have I done for my country? What have I done for myself? So it is up to me to create that job. There's no one out there who is going to start a company and you're studying marketing or studying business administration. I normally ask my friends at Chambo who are doing business administration, does your father have a company? No. Whose business are you going to administer? Before you go, I'm not saying you stop going for lectures,
Yes.
but after lectures in the evening, ask yourself, my dad does not have a milk production company, he does not own a factory, he does not even own a shop. So this business administration I'm studying, what am I going to administer? That means when you're answering that question, you will get a view, you will get an idea to create your own business to administer. Thank you very much, Lori.
All right. I just want to. Wow. I'm even lost for words, but thank you so much for that insight, because to be honest, I've never really looked at it at your point of view. I'm like every other Ugandan, looking for who to blame for this situation that we're in, and not looked at myself, asking myself, maybe I'm to blame for this situation. Thank you so much for that. Emily, I want to, the guys have talked about female, this, we, our gender, that. I want you to give us your perspective. You could give us your perspective. You could give us the female perspective of, who is to blame for this situation that many youth or young women are in today in Uganda. Unemployed youth. And you see, the thing is that that's the way the saying goes. The younger people have the energy, have the zeal, have creative minds, just like the way our parents used to tell us, after university, please go ahead and upgrade, to something else, go and study something else, because you're still young, because you still have energy, because by the time you get to my age, you'll not, have energy to go sit in class. You won't sit through the whole lecture without having hitting your head on the table a few times because you're sleeping. The responsibilities will be too many. Over to you, Emily. Give us your perspective, the female perspective of who you feel is to blame in, for this situation or this unemployment situation that the youth in Uganda are in today.
Yeah, thank you so much. When we talk about the feminine ideology, my point of view is that we girls, we ladies, we must come out and start to work, because first of all, unemployment has been there for the past years. I hear
even before COVID-19.
Yeah, even before COVID-19, and after, just that the country was in lockdown and everything was still. So now that is why the rates of unemployment are increasing. But that one shouldn't be an excuse for you to sit down and wait on. Now let me give you an example. During the lockdown, as much as we are complaining, and many youth were unemployed, many people are laid off, but there are other people who made money, much more money out of the lockdown. For example, there are some YouTubers I was watching, and for them they changed. They were saying when the lockdown is done, they will not report back to their places of work. Why? Because their hustles, the side hustles, are making them much more money than their workplaces. So this calls us to change the way we've been doing things, look around, and maybe see which problem can you solve so that you can do something on your own. And for the ladies, we have this other thing of for us, you can dodge unemployment, because when I finish school, then I will look and get married.
Oh, wow.
But things have changed.
Yes.
Things have changed that in this era, we need more women, we need more ladies who will stand out, and they are financially independent, minus this thing of depending on to someone, on our parents, on men. So I call upon all the ladies out there, all the girls out there, to change that mindset and start working towards their own goals.
I love that, and it coming from a fellow woman. We have redeemed ourselves, Ivan. We have redeemed ourselves.
That's
so. All right. So, if you're listening into this radio station, it's UBC Radio on 98.0 in Kampala. The program you are listening to is Young and Smart. Lorraine is my name. I'm in studio with Ivan, Gift, and Emily. and we're definitely having a very interesting discussion. But you know what? We have to break off for a little while, get into a small commercial music break, and we will return with the show. Do not touch your dial. That was good. I like the energy. I like the